These are serious charges, and although I understand that things can be difficult as far as when a person is driving a cable car and some of the other concerns that have been expressed, we have not just responsibility to MUNI, we have the city as a whole and the school district.
We can be responsible only for our own actions.
An individual, and no other restriction. Generally speaking, an issue of theft, it's either not back to the city and county of San Francisco, not back to the city and South. So this is a very lenient recommendation, quite frankly. And in 5 years, Mr. Jones can also request to rescind that restriction. This leaves open many opportunities for him in actuality. I too, and I don't want to get onto the bandwagon, but I really want to underscore the remarks of Commissioner Jung. I ride the MUNI every single day and I ride the cable car. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people they check all the time. I have never gotten a free ride. And I'm just, I would love to one of these days, but I wouldn't go because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. That's right, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I do want to see there's lots of opportunity for Mr. Jones still. Lots of opportunity. And that, you know, the job at MUNI is a good job, but it doesn't mean that there are no jobs. I would think, in my mind, not coming back to MUNI was, or not going to the MTA is not overly restrictive. It does not prevent Mr. Jones from applying after requesting that that ban be removed. However, if this doesn't appear to be something that the commissioners could second, so that's why I would move that we uphold the decision or the recommendation. The individual, Mr. Jones, can still apply for positions throughout the city. He's not restricted from doing that activity. There are many jobs within the city that require Class B licenses or not. However, I would be concerned that this is an issue of handling money, but I think that the arbitrator was trying to recognize Mr. Jones' 20-year record with the department. And that's where I would start off with.
The motion is to uphold the recommendation of the department. Is there a second? For purposes of discussion and putting the motion on the table, the chair will second the motion, but not necessarily in support of the motion. So that we're now open for discussion only from among the commissioners. Commissioner General?
I'm glad that Vice President Betty pointed out that there are other positions within the city where his Class C license is eligible. Because my original thought is that this person has been a driver for 20 years. And if I was a driver for 20 years, I'm not quite sure what I'd be doing afterwards. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
I mean, there are, and the other is that not to limit oneself only to driving. I mean, I believe that the Class B license is accepted for truck driver positions. I don't know how many positions are available or open. There are other positions throughout the city. Then, of course, there's other alternative motions too that you can this one.
Right now, this is the question on the table. All in favor of the motion to accept the recommendation of the department as is, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays?
Nay.
And the chair votes nay also. So that motion fails. Would either of the commissioners be amenable to a motion that would allow employment with MUNI, but with a restriction that it not be with handling of funds?
I would be willing to.
You might be willing to make that motion?
Yes.
I would like to see a recommendation for a demonstration of satisfactory service outside of MUNI for at least 1 year.
Or at least, so if we were to go by the consensus of the commissioners, Commissioner Jung is willing to make a motion that we would strike no future employment with MUNI, that it would be on proviso, on two provisions, that it be for a job that does not require handling of funds, and secondly, that there be proof of 1 year of suitable
Satisfactory service.
Satisfactory service to the city. Would you, shall we get counsel?
I just want a clarification what the motion was about the 1 year satisfactory service.
There's no motion yet. There's a willingness on the part of Commissioner Jung to modify, to make a motion for striking that no future employment with the agency be the case, but that future employment be allowed. First provision on a post that does not handle money or revenue, and the second provision was proposed by Vice President Favetti, that there be a 1 year good conduct.
1 year outside satisfactory service prior to entry to any position within the city.
Would you two commissioners be willing to collaborate on that motion? And this is on the understanding that the Deputy City Attorney says that these are both just and proper motions to be made, provisions to be set on that one motion.
I think future employment restrictions within your discretion, and it's not for me to address the wisdom or anything like that.
It's the legality and the jurisdictional application.
Okay, so I move that that we not go with the recommendation, and that the recommendation instead be, let's see, future employment be allowed, but not in a position that handles money. And the second provision being that the employee must show 1 year of outside satisfactory employment service before coming back to the city.
I can second that.
It's been moved and seconded.
Mr. Chair, I had a question of clarification on the motion, which is, I had understood the original recommendation, the original decision of the department was limited to MTA. And I had understood, and it doesn't matter to me, I just want to be sure that it's clear. I had originally understood when the commission was discussing this, that that restriction would still be
within MTA.
Within MTA. So that there would not be a restriction within MTA other than the handling of the money type job. There then would be, as I understood it, in effect, a citywide restriction until there was a completion of 1 year of service in another position outside the city satisfactory.
Brilliant catch.
Now again, it doesn't matter to me, I just want to make sure that the resolution is clear.
So, Vice President Favetti, this is your...
Well, actually, it's Commissioner Jung, 1 year outside satisfactory service for any employment within the city. As far as money handling, is your recommendation that this restriction only apply to MUNI or to all positions within the city?
Given that with MUNI, I think MUNI is the only, it seemed like there was more carelessness, and that MUNI is probably the only agency where we're talking about that type of confusing atmosphere. So I would just say MUNI.
Just okay, I give my second,
Is that
my second stance.
Yeah.
My suggestion, the clarification made by the Deputy City Attorney is that we do not wish to restrict future employment of Mr. Jones within MUNI. We are going to restrict that employment so that he no longer is going to be handling revenue, and that he can come back to MUNI within 1 year of satisfactory performance in an outside position.
No, that'd be anywhere in the city after 1 year outside satisfactory service.
So I just want to be absolutely clear, because we're trying to do something that is akin to the wisdom of Solomon. We want to be fair to a person, to an operator, so that his restrictions take into account the fact that
That's not fair.
carelessness may have been involved. We're also taking into account the fact that there might have been a flawed complaint process. At the same time, we cannot be seen as condoning in any way mishandling of public funds. So what we are trying to do is save future employment for the operator, taking into account his 20 years of good service. But we need to have some restrictions. Now, these restrictions, Commissioners Jung and Vice President Fabetti, are we talking about restrictions only within MUNI or restrictions within the entire city and county of San Francisco? We need that clarified both by the mover of the motion and the seconder.
So,
Okay, my understanding, what I seconded, is that you want to restrict in any kind of employment to a position in MUNI that handles money.
right.
And then additionally, for any employment within the city and MUNI, that there's 1 year outside satisfactory service.
Those are not contradictory. Those can work together.
Yeah, those were, yeah.
Right, so I originally, right, that's originally what I meant, but, you know, based on what President
We
Murphy
just
just
want to be
said.
absolutely sure, because we want.
But now I'm thinking, you know, maybe, I mean, what does handling money mean? I mean, for instance, if I was a truck driver for, let's see, the Department of Public Works, and I needed to collect a check from a vendor, is that considered handling money?
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay, then I'm fine.
But that restriction isn't going to apply to the TPW position.
That restriction will apply only to MUNI.
Right,
The
right,
1 year will apply
right,
city.
right, okay, okay. All right, then I'm okay.
And our executive officer is running.
I also want to just be very clear that, you know, of the recommendation or the motion, that no employment in the city and county, including MUNI, or specifically, or let me put it this way, as I first understood it, no employment which requires the handling of money in any position in the city and county of San Francisco.
No.
No, what are we saying?
Allow me, as my role as chair. The first is that we are not going with the recommendation of the department for absolutely no future employment with MUNI. The recommendation of the motion is that future employment with MUNI be possible, provided that that employment not require the handling of public revenue. And that secondly, that there be a 1 year period for proof of satisfactory performance within any position in the city and county of San Francisco. So part A has to do with MUNI, part B has to do with the city and county of San Francisco. They are not mutually contradictory. They do serve the purpose of allowing Mr. Jones to come back to MUNI and secure and reinstate his employment.
Mr. Chair, I apologize for repeating this, but one further question of clarification, which is, does the 1 year start from when he was terminated, or does the 1 year start from the day? The 1 year limitation on city employment?
Vice President?
That is, Mr. Jones been working, okay, so it would be.
Let's make it from termination.
It's satisfactory service outside, so whenever he starts work outside of the
Yeah,
city,
with-
that was
Yeah, with the mass unemployment, he'll get a job
What if
quick.
there is no jobs?
Yeah,
You people are foul.
yeah.
We're trying to.
Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty?
Can I say one thing that may help you, make
Please come up with a limited to.
just give
We
me a
cannot
second.
open up a can of worms by having everyone.
No problem. With Mr. Jones, we work for MUNI, the SFMTA. We work at Cable Car. Even during his termination, I think the head of our union asked, can he go to buses? You don't handle money on the buses. Only on Cable Car. So in actuality, he can go back and drive a bus. He doesn't have no money on the bus. They put money in the machines. So there is the solution.
That's the motion, that's the part B.
Yeah.
No, but that's a year off. That's worse than the recommendation. He can't go back to work for a year.
He doesn't have money. He don't have no money on the buses.
The 1 year is what concerns us, because then that will prevent him from coming back for 1 year.
But they didn't prove
Did not.
Commissioners, I stand firm on 1 year. And the reason I do
racist.
is that this is for the entire city. We've got to look at the entire city's requirements.
It didn't even happen.
And this doesn't mean that he can't come back at all. This is, I think, and it doesn't, even with the not going back to uni, he's going to have to wait 5 years. So this is a significant reduction. It allows him to go back to driving buses. It says, though, we've got this question here. This has been reviewed by a third-party person, they're an independent arbitrator. It's different than what it's different. Excuse me, we listened.
This may be out of order and have you object. Crafted, and it does not help us to hear outbursts that are neither germane nor fair to us at this moment.
These are serious charges, and although I understand that things can be difficult as far as when a person is driving a cable car and some of the other concerns that have been expressed, however, we have to look at the city as a whole. We have not just responsibility to MUNI, we have the city as a whole and the school district.
Should the appellant wish to think that what we are doing is either unfair totally to him or not, certainly there are other actions that he may take, and we have no influence over that. What we are trying to do here is craft a situation that recognizes his record, that recognizes the fact that we are not entirely happy about the process itself that was followed in his termination. And what we're trying to do is reduce the motion or the resolution that would have resulted. No action on the part of this commission would result on complete no future employment for the city and county of San Francisco for a 5-year period. What we're trying to do is come back with some mitigating, more fair resolution. If we are unable to come to a unanimous vote on this issue, this simply will stand, and then people will have to do what they wish to do. There is a motion on the table. It's been moved and seconded. All for the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays? There being none, the motion as revised passes unanimously. Thank you.
I've known Paul Jones for a long time. He's always been a very nice person. He's honest. The fact that Chris Abora feels like because he's a manager, he can just go and file charges against somebody out of reasons unknown and just create something, it's a travesty, it really is. The fact that you think that because you're a manager and you can say, I don't need a witness, why didn't he get the names of these people who he says didn't get a receipt? Again, another case where the SFMTA didn't investigate and still no due process. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. My name is John Maxwell. Are you aware that the SFMTA has a minority removal project going on? Minority removal project is trying to get rid of most of the operators that have 10 or more years. And they fabricating charges. I myself have to come before you because I was recently terminated on some trumped up charges. And you know, they have the arbitrator, which is paid and lawful by them, so he's going to rule in favor of them. So you need to take that into consideration, and not only that they bring it before you, they don't do a thorough investigation. I had video evidence and things related to my matter that you will soon have before you, that they trumped up charges. Just like they trumped up charges on this gentleman here, the lady that's going to be in item number 13, they trumped up charges. And what has to happen that this commission needs to do an investigation on how MUNI conducts its disciplinary process and business. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Mike Bernardo. I'm here to testify that it is appalling the blatant racism that we are seeing in this city. It puts Birmingham, Alabama to shame. This is nothing but a concerted effort to remove African Americans from the city payroll, particularly at MUNI. And furthermore, if collecting fares is so important, why is it that MUNI refuses to put fare inspectors on the 14 Mission and the 38 Gary, where free riding is rampant? The only thing Mr. Jones is guilty of is working while black.
First of all, I would like to say, with all due respect to everyone, these three people here, it saddens me to know that they're not pushing the buttons. Someone above them are pushing the buttons. I just would like to point out that I am African American. Been in San Francisco since '77. And yes, there is, the politicians are pushing African Americans out of the city. In 1995, we had 95,000 children in public schools. Black kids have been pushed out under the Willie Brown Gavin Newsom machine. There's an article in the Chronicle and the Examiner where Gavin Newsom stated, if we do not vote the way he wanted us to vote, there will be repercussions. And it saddens me to know that this is still going on and nobody want to attack the racism, the bigotry, the hatred, the retaliation that goes on among the San Francisco MUNI operators. It's a sad day in America. This is a large metropolitan city, everyone. And this is supposed to be a city where there is no racism, no bigotry, no hatred, no retaliation. This is not a city that's supposed to represent only the Asian community, only the gays and lesbian community. This is supposed to be for all people. I'm asking you guys to look at the policies. The policies was violated at every level. The arbitrator, if anybody, I suggest that you all, please, if you have time, if you're willing to make time, go on the cable car, ride the cable car, 1 block, 2 blocks, or just stand there at Powell Street and observe. But this is a problem that's far beyond you all. I just ask that we take everything in consideration. But one thing I would like to point out, with all due respect, these are the same people that came on the cable car. These are the same people that stay set in the step 3, step 4 hearing. To me, there's a conflict of interest somewhere. Please, I'm asking everybody, let's look at the bylaws everywhere, even with the arbitrator. Where's his facts?
Good afternoon, my name is Clarence Block, and in listening to everyone, and I appeared before you on the 21st, I had to come and say this. And I know in this generation and this time, a lot of people don't like what they consider dangling the race card. But I've come to give you some factual information. You know, at one time, I worked for the EEO-ADA department of SFMTA, and I had come from the housing authority after being a paralegal there for almost 9 years. And so I was hired to do a job, and I did investigations of discriminatory conduct, and I rendered reports. And I'm here to tell you that as a commission here, where people are losing their jobs, and then SFMTA is going the final step of saying, denying them future employability, it comes before this commission, and a lot of times, because it's come from an arbitrator or so-called step 3 and 4 hearing, it looks like the person did whatever they said they did. But at times when I did investigations and I rendered a report based on discriminatory conduct, there were times under the administrator, Mr. Ford, where I was told to tear reports up, you know, and I was told, and for various reasons. In one particular case, it was that a dispatcher got the run out and we can't mess with her, or this person does that. But then in other instances, things were pushed forward. And I had to do something that really hurt me financially, and you know, I'm not a spring chicken, and it cost me future employment. I resigned because as a child of the civil rights movement and working in the EEO ADA department and seeing that disparaging treatment that was going on and the conduct and the political crap that was going on, I couldn't even sleep at night and work in that department and see people getting fired for one thing, and then when someone did something and you render a report, you tear that report up because that person is not somebody that they want to lose their job. And I just, you know, I sit here and I wasn't going to say anything, but you know, in this day and age, people say you render the race card. There is no race card, and as a commission, you know, I implore you. I don't know what powers the commission has, but something has to be done about the people that were dismissed under Mr. Ford's administration. I heard that Mr. Resnick is a man of integrity, and that's all I have to say.
And what they do is they issue a set amount of tickets or receipts to each conductor. And
these are numbered?
These are all numbered. So all conductors get the same amount every day. It doesn't change. And we understand mistakes happening. We can understand that when a conductor receives a fare, 2 tickets, 3 tickets may stay together, they tear it off, hand it, they put out more receipts than they actually collect. The revenue department tracks things like this. Or if you have going back your business and you forget, and you don't give a receipt. That's why they have that overage underage form. They want you to come up and say, okay, throughout the day, I did my daily business, I issued tickets, or I may have gotten to issue a ticket, but here's the amount that I show. I have more money than I do tickets, or I have less money than I have tickets. And this is something that they track. Now, if conductors come up like that, I don't do any discipline whatsoever. They're being honest in what they're doing. They're being straightforward and saying, I made a mistake. But at that point, revenue department tracks who does that quite a bit. And as far as I know, we have not disciplined anyone for charging in more money or less money at the end of the day.
Do you consider that there might be an inherent flaw in this system, in that as long as a receipt is given out, there's money taken in? But if there's money taken in but no receipt given out, there's no accountability inherent in the system, and therefore there's room for misuse of public funds and possible criminal fraud.
That's correct. And that's why we have that overage underage sheet.
What other controls do you have in place, such as has been mentioned in testimony here, with inspectors on the spot, random checks? What other systems do you have in place? Because a system of simply receipts and dollars, that's...
In Clarence Block, and thank you for listening. I think it's important to note with Mr. Kwan standing here that he was the subject of a petition by the cable car operators and conductors of all races who called for his removal because of disparaging treatment and disciplinary matters in the case of the conductors and the gripmen. And the petition and the investigation by the DFEA coincided with his removal from cable car. And I'd like, since he's here, I think that he needs to explain that to you, because during his tenure, a lot of people were charged with incidents that in the past they weren't charged with. And as in my presentation for Bernard Block on the 21st, there were situations where there was a conductor and a gripman on board, and only the gripman, who happened to be Bernard Block, was charged with a chargeable accident, and the conductor wasn't. And I think that he needs to explain to this commission, in the light of the fact that so many people are coming before you who have been terminated by, you know, his recommendation of why he was sent packing from the cable car division.
Thank you for your comment. The chair would rule that it would be inappropriate for this commission to question Mr. Kwan on his particular personnel record, because that's not the issue today. I will, however, ask Mr. Kwan to verify as fact or deny as fact the contention or the allegation made by Mr. Block that there was a petition. Within that narrow frame, I need a yes or no.
Your Kwan, I'm not aware of that petition.
You are not aware.
I'm not.
So you're not making a categorical statement either that there was one or there was not. You're simply not.
I just wanted to address Commissioner Trump about the June 3rd. That was a part of what I was telling you earlier about the security company came out. We actually saw these people because they were doing it so much. We kind of knew who the people were that were watching us. So, you know, it was like they did it so much and did it to so many people that we have some people that really, you know, hold up the cable car, which is conductors, you know, to collect money. And we know this, you know, actually hold it up. And for those people to get rolled up for not collecting fares was a big deal. And when I said everybody got rolled up for not collecting fares, if we got 60, probably 59 of them got rolled up. So that was then. And it hasn't happened since then. It might happen now again, but I'm just saying it hadn't happened. You know, it happened just after we denied our concession. So this happened, and like I said, Mr. Kwan was the superintendent, and during that time he did, you know, counsel people for it. And it didn't even necessarily have to be that person, but we had to file grievance to get it off our back to say, I was not even that person on that car. Or, you know, they're describing a person that's not even myself. So that's what that June 3rd was about. And just about, like I said, if it was 60 conductors, 59 of them got rolled up for the same thing. 28 people got on the car, and he only collected fares from 20 of them, or 8 of them. So that was during that time. So, and they have a record of all those people that got rolled up during that time. So that was addressed.